Don't look now, but JJ McCarthy is arriving. It's a little too late for the Vikings to do anything with that arrival this year, but he's going to be back next year, and he's going to be the starting quarterback, despite what the memes would have you believe. It started off rocky, and people reacted to those games like JJ McCarthy was unsalvageable, playing terrible. I heard him compared to Anthony Richardson. I heard him compared to Tim Tebow, the next Johnny Manziel. Cringe all the way. And he was cringy, and he still is. I mean, he shook the hand of like every first responder before the game. Like, JJ, come on, dude. It's not even a home game. These are Cowboys fans who you're high five. Stop. But we don't criticize him because he's a good Lutheran boy from Chicago. And we just keep on telling ourselves that. Yikes. Some of us making videos right now are good Lutheran boys from Chicago. So he's got to represent for all of us. Back to football. JJ McCarthy was really, really good against Dallas. And you know, people are going to say, well, it's Dallas. It doesn't matter. Well, watch the game because the Dallas Cowboys can't force JJ McCarthy to make one elite throw, 4 great throws, 3 solid throws, and only miss on 6 aimed passes, right? The Dallas Cowboys can't make JJ McCarthy read the field properly and make good throws. In fact, the Dallas Cowboys actually made his stat line look worse because they stole an interception from him on a batted ball that was not his fault. But we're talking a lot. Suffice to say, I had a tough time with JJ McCarthy earlier this year because he makes really nice throws. Even when he was quote-unquote sucking, and he wasn't playing very well, he was still making really nice big throws for chunk yards and like keeping the team just barely in the game against a fairly tough schedule of opponents. That being said, there was some dysfunction. There was some real inconsistency. I never thought he was nearly as bad as the memes made him out to be, and I made a video on that earlier in the season. But I also didn't know if I thought he would be good, because it's hard to think that somebody will be good while they're so massively inconsistent, and while they have played so little football. But the last few weeks have really made me come around, and now I think that he's figuring it out, and he's taking a step forward. Coming out of Michigan, I said that this guy was going to be really tricky to grade because he's inconsistent and he also didn't get used a lot. Michigan doesn't really pass the football, or at least they didn't back then. He also makes really strange decisions and at the time was 19 years old, so anything could happen with this guy. Still, I had him neck and neck with Caleb Williams for quarterback too. I ended up giving the nod to Caleb Williams because of the certainty and the remarkable physical talent, but I thought they were similar caliber players, JJ McCarthy being slightly worse. And again, that's not because I loved JJ McCarthy, it's more so because I wasn't very impressed with Caleb Williams. There were few that were lower than me on Caleb Williams. I didn't think he'd be a bust necessarily, but I certainly didn't think he'd be great. I thought he could be okay. And so far, that's kind of what he's been. Anyway, this is a video about JJ McCarthy, and I could tell you why you shouldn't overreact to him beating up on bad defenses like Dallas and Washington, or we could just watch the film. Sounds a lot better to me, doesn't it? All right. First play is not going to go JJ's way. I'm not even going to show you the wide copy because it's irrelevant, but if a ball's getting tipped 2 or 3 feet away from the quarterback's arm, and it's being tipped by a free rusher, there's really nothing he can do. This isn't even a bad throw, it's just unfortunate. If you watch my videos, you know that like 90% of batted balls I blame on the quarterback, and originally on the broadcast angle, I blamed this one on JJ, but here, I don't know what else he's supposed to do, right? As you can see, the play calls for, I guess you will see a little bit of the wide copy. The play calls for him to look in the middle of the field to draw defenders away and then just throw the quick flat or quick curl or whatever that is out there. It doesn't matter. I guess it's a quick curl to Jefferson. They're just trying to feed him. He's thinking, I've got a blitzer from Jefferson. That means Jefferson's open. He recognizes it quickly. He actually picks it up. And by looking at 84, I believe that's Hawkinson, in the middle of the field, he's drawing this linebacker away from Jefferson. So JJ is actually doing everything right. It's just the lightning blitz by the cornerback makes a better play. I'll grade this as bad, but understand that if it was any other quarterback, I'd probably be grading it as a throwaway. These are the kinds of plays that are on the borderline, and when we're on the borderline, if the public, the masses, if the consensus is much lower than I am, then I'll just defer to the consensus on close plays. So this one's on the edge between bad and throwaway. I grade it bad. Punish the guy that I'm higher on than most. But yeah, obviously, never in the conversation of being a pickable ball. And, Kevin O'Connell joked, like, right here, JJ's trying to make a play. He should have just batted the ball down. I think he tried to. I think he got blocked. I'm not upset that JJ didn't bat that ball out of the way. So, we're off to a real hot start, giving the Cowboys an extra possession right away. Here, JJ makes a nice throw on the run. I am a little upset, though. Like, check out his pocket movement. Top of his drop right here. And right here, you should be noticing nobody's open downfield. Hit my check down, my release valve to the tight end. Rather than just throw it, he steps up, and that's fine. He needed a little time to understand, and it's a good job stepping up, so plus pocket movement, right? When you've got those defensive linemen pinching you, usually it's by edge rushers, but when they're both pinching you, you step up and through them, and they run right past you. So great job by JJ. When in doubt, step up. That's typically the adage, unless you're getting interior pressure, of course. So from here, JJ needs to immediately realize I have to get the ball to Hockenson as quickly as I can. He's literally not covered, and I'm pressured, right? I stepped through those guys, but they didn't disappear. They're going to come back at me. So right here, instead of like crouching and bringing his eyes down and being afraid of the rush, I'd like to see him keep his eyes up and have that ball already out. That being said, he does eventually find the right target, even if it took him way too long to get there, right? Like, I wanted it out when he was in the pocket, and instead he runs around and he draws all these defenders, right? Let's watch it live again. Right here, there's nobody near Hockenson, but because JJ runs towards Hockenson, he's bringing, at the very least, this linebacker who's chasing down JJ, and these two defensive linemen. He's bringing them 5 to 10 yards closer to Hockenson. These guys weren't over there. Additionally, the fact that JJ's waited so long and rolled to his left means that this receiver, I believe that's Jefferson, has begun running something like an improv corner. That's still a terrible arrow. There we go. And that also draws this defender towards Hockenson. That looks like some kind of strange gender symbol. Regardless, if JJ gets the ball out to Hockenson from the pocket, it's probably worth an extra 5 yak. Because he rolls out and takes a little too long, it's probably about 5 less yak. It also doesn't really matter. In the end, it's a plus pocket movement because he stepped up and threw those edge rushers. I'm not giving him a plus pocket movement for superfluously moving to the left. And then it's a routine throw because he threw a 5-yard flat to a wide open receiver. Still, solid play. Let it roll. All right, next snap, new set of downs, routine little hitch, let's not talk about it. Routine little swing, let's not talk about it. Let's talk about it. I mean, this throw is incredible. Like, this is the stuff. When people compared this man to Aaron Rodgers, and therefore Zach Wilson, but compared him to Aaron Rodgers coming out in the draft, as far as arm talent and size and athleticism go, this is what they meant. When JJ has his shit right, he can do wonderful things with the ball. Play action boot left, so he doesn't get a plus pocket movement just for running to the left. That's what the play called for. He's not actually avoiding a rush, he's just executing the rollout. That being said, rolling left like this and making this throw is insanely difficult. In fact, this is a play that Kevin Stefanski loves to run. Right, so the primary target on this boot, you're going to hand it off and you're going to roll left. The primary target is this tight end who's going to block for a little bit and then release into the flat. This is like classic, I call it the power McVay, the little flurs, the Stefanskis, etc. It's like a run heavier version of what McVay does. Anyway, that's your primary. Then you're going to have this short side wide receiver on like a deep, very flat corner, almost a deep dig. Then you're going to have, from the opposite side, Justin Jefferson's going to run an over about 5 yards shallower. And then you're going to have, where is Addison? Yes, Addison's going to run like kind of a whip 5 yards shorter than that. So in the end, the objective is that you're going to have a target at the line of scrimmage, a target a little bit, even better, a little bit staggered 5 yards downfield. Another target a little bit staggered 15 yards downfield or 10 yards downfield, depending. And then you're going to have another one at the very boundary, but he's going to be towards the bottom of the screen. So just understand that I'm bad at drawing. Almost always, the quarterback ends up just hitting the tight end in the flat, right around here, and it ends up getting like 5 to 6 yards just off the yak. Right? Because nobody's going to be guarding this tight end. He's blocking, and then he's releasing. It's super rare that a quarterback actually hits this deep throw we're about to show you. So I'm going to stop blue balling you and just let the play run. Rolling left, weirdest mechanics I've ever seen, and a strike. What a touchdown pass. So again, he's rolling left, all his momentum left. He does a really cool job of getting his body square, right? Because the reason that it's hard to throw left is that all of your momentum's carrying away from your arm. But if you can contort yourself like this, which takes a lot of core strength, and you can kind of detach your legs from the throw, either by getting airborne or just like rotating your torso against your legs hard enough, both of which are difficult, you can get a decent throw off. It's really hard to generate velocity this way because it's all arm, right? You're not letting your lower body in. But lucky for JJ McCarthy, he typically throws all arm because his footwork is terrible. Or at least it has been in the past. Here, this ball, perfect. Perfect. You couldn't have placed it any better if you were standing still in the pocket. Because he's booting, the angle changes, making the throw easier. This is at least 1+ pocket movement for throwing while rolling left. And it is an elite throw. Why is it an elite throw? Well, the line of scrimmage is the 25, and he puts it 5 yards into the end zone on a dot. It doesn't get better than that. One more time from the tight copy, I'll stop chopping it. That's gorgeous. 2. The thing about highlights is they only last one play. So that touchdown was incredible, but you still got to score like 2 or 3 more to have a good game, or to win a game at least. And we're back on the grind. Here, I don't really know what JJ's thinking. Like, I understand that you have Justin Jefferson one-on-one, and anytime you have Justin Jefferson one-on-one, you want him. Justin Jefferson clearly doesn't think he's going to win deep, and there's safety help over the top. Okay, so you should throw the back shoulder. But as you can see, there's kind of this issue. There's kind of a guy all over his back shoulder who's anticipating the back shoulder because he knows I have safety help coming over the top. Sometimes the best play isn't to force feed your star receiver who's disgruntled. Sometimes the best play is to hit your open tight end. But we live in the world where JJ made this decision rather than that one. It's a bad throw. It's a deep attempt. It's not good. You'll see it from JJ's angle. There's never any hope of this ball being completed. Would have taken something insane. The ball was accurate. It was just a bad decision. So for all of those of you who were calling JJ McCarthy the new Aaron Anthony Richardson, bleh. Let's try that again, shall we? For all of you who are out there calling JJ McCarthy the new Anthony Richardson, that's not quite the case. This play, however, kind of looks like it. And that's a nice deep ball. Now here's the question. Do we knock JJ for underthrowing what would have been a walk-in touchdown and turning it into a large gain but not a touchdown? Let's find out. Line of scrimmage is the 38. And we're launching it. See, we're on our back foot. He threw a little bit of a Jordan Love, a little bit of a fadeaway ball. I wish he hadn't, because he's right. It's so obvious right off the top. You've got cover 3, which means it's one-on-one deep, and Jordan Addison toasts him. Or is that Jalen Naylor? No, it's Addison. Yeah, it's Addison. Okay. He toasts him deep. He's open. You see how he has to slow down, throttle all the way down, and stop and look back for it? Ball gets caught at, let's be discerning, let's call it the 18. It's a 44-yard throw from the line of scrimmage. That's good. It's not special, but it's good. And if it had been 50, it's a touchdown. And again, 50, not crazy. Very doable. Just from the throwing posture and the hand movement, I think JJ wanted to put more air on it to make sure he got the completion, and that's fine. But we're going to grade it as a great throw rather than an elite throw. Now, this ball gets called back for like an illegal formation or some shit that also doesn't matter. But what a throw. And full disclosure, I'm impressed because JJ had 3 wide open receivers, and the hardest throw was probably to Jefferson. Now, I'm going to pretend that JJ knows Justin Jefferson is disengaged, he's frustrated, he's upset, he wants his tutties, and he's not getting them. So he is making a point of giving Justin Jefferson his stat that he wants. I'm going to pretend that it isn't just JJ saying, I don't need to think, Justin Jefferson, only read. Because, yeah, Hawkinson and Naylor were both far more open. I mean, right here you can see there's not going to be anybody covering Naylor. Hawkinson is open at the same depth, just he's bigger and the throw is shorter, so it should be easier. Regardless, good throw. Back of the end zone, 20 yards downfield, touchdown. Oh, wait, no, it's not. And then this is just a bad fade. You put it far too far behind. Should have just given Justin Jefferson a chance. Didn't. Fade balls are generally either routine or bad, and that one was bad. Here, great job to step up and through. Great job using your athleticism, but this is what I don't get. If you just keep your angle, you're easily going to make the end zone. You have plenty of room. All you got to do is keep going that way. You'll stiff arm the guy and you'll get just across the goal line and then he'll rip you down, but you'll have a touchdown to show for it. Instead, JJ really wants to show you what kind of athlete he is. So he tries this shitty little stutter move, which takes away all his momentum, by the way. If you're going to truck this dude, get full speed. Full speed trucking is way easier than no momentum. And right here, this stupid stutter move kills his momentum. So not only did you not just run to the corner where you have the angle and will get the touchdown, but you also took away all your own speed and momentum. Hit him as hard as you fucking can if you're going to hit him. And then when you truck him, you fall a yard short because you didn't keep your feet moving, right? This is running back shit, but when he makes contact here, he stops driving and just kind of falls down because he's leaning. Somebody hasn't played running back since he was 7. Yeah, it shows. Right? Don't stop your feet. Don't do the stutter move. Don't stop your feet again when you make contact. Run straight through. That being said, the Vikings give JJ his flowers, and okay. This is a video about JJ McCarthy being good. JJ McCarthy is a good Lutheran boy from Chicago, just like me. This ain't very Christian of you, JJ. That's taunting. I had money on the Vikings, so I'm happy, but how the hell is that not taunting? That's taunting. If Tyreek Hill throwing peace sign is taunting, gritty 5 yards out is taunting. Neutral run, whatever. Routine throw, whatever. Routine throw, whatever. On this one, I kind of wish JJ had some balls, because if you hit Hawkinson on that deep out cut at the 20, I mean, you had him. There's your window. Throw that ball here. It's kind of exactly what you wanted. But whatever, don't go broke making a profit. I do hate that phrase, though, because everybody knows when you have the edge on the house, you got to take them for all they're worth, because the house always wins in the end. Explosives matter. Anyway. This is a good throw to see from the tight copy, because he never comes off of Justin Jefferson. It's a one-read play, and it's a quick slant. And like from the wide copy, this looks like a really tough throw. But from the tight copy, you see it's pretty easy. Routine throw. This is another bad one. Again, they're just spamming. They're like, okay, first down, we can throw this play away. We can try whatever we want. Fade to Jefferson. It's a bad throw, but Jefferson's also not even a little bit open. Jefferson never gets off of his defender. Jefferson never disengages. Maybe if he does, he's able to actually jump. But you can't call a holding or a pass interference because Jefferson never tries to disengage contact. He kind of just wants to ride it out because when you ride it out, you don't have to run. You can just kind of jog with the guy. Another miss by JJ, and this one was almost catastrophic. It's not quite pickable, but it's on the verge. As you can see, ball's just a teeny tiny bit out of their reach, and if you put it a little bit closer to the body, it's probably a possession catch to the 5-yard line. And just by happenstance, there's a defender behind it. Almost never makes that catch. Would be almost impossible to make that catch to stop your momentum and dive, but still close enough for discomfort. Here's another bad one. Right? Here's your play action. Right here, JJ needs to stop moving and realize there's a defender with contain, which means that this area of the field's off limits. And there's another defender who's rushing you, but he's a defensive tackle, so you have time. He's 5 yards away. Stop your feet, reset your pocket, hold your breath for a second, throw a strike, eat a hit. You're a big boy, you'll be okay. Instead, he keeps rolling a little bit. He lets the contain get to him, and he throws while being hit by the contained defender. Not great, right? So here's where he should stop. He takes 2 extra steps, and that's all the difference. If he has a little bit more time, he's probably able to make a much more accurate throw to Naylor, who is open on the comeback, and it would have been a good ball. He just got hit while he threw. It's a plus pocket movement because he did throw while getting hit, so we don't blame him for the miss entirely, but he missed. Bad throw, plus pocket movement to mitigate that, not because he actually managed the pocket that well. There he manages the pocket really well, but again, he misses. So this little slump in the middle of the game here is not tasty, and it gave me a sour feeling in my tummy. But again, great job. You've got both of the edge defenders winning. They're both running around the hoop, as you call it. Not the kind of hoop that Paul Bissonnette talks about. That's nasty. He steps up and through, and again, I wish he'd set his feet. I wish he'd torque his body more so he could get an easier, more accurate throw, but he didn't, and it was just a little bad. As you can see from the tight copy, it's a tough ball to catch. It's low, it's behind, the receiver is already trying to stop his momentum. It's tough. That'll make up for it. I think this is the next drive. Yeah, because it's first down. What a seam ball. Line of scrimmage being the 25. Ball caught at, let's call it the 49. 25 yards downfield, right on the dime. The Dak Prescott throw against the Cowboys of all teams. Verse cover 4. It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's exactly what the doctor ordered. That's lovely. It's a great throw. Accurate deep ball. Bang. You love to see it. And this is the kind of deep ball, like the earlier one, the elite throw. That's not sustainable. That's a crazy throw that nobody could be expected to make consistently. But that seam ball, that's the good stuff because that's consistent. You're going to have that throw often, and you got to make it. Here, just great job of staying tough in the pocket, allowing the play to develop. He sees JJ coming JJ sees JJ coming available over the middle on this sail route or this over, depending on where his landmark is. I think it's just an over. Left guard gets blown up. That stinks. And then JJ gets blown up by the same guy while throwing. And even then, this 20-yard downfield throw is off by centimeters, if that. Honestly, that's the kind of ball you expect Justin Jefferson to catch, but at the same time, Justin Jefferson couldn't catch it, so it's a bad throw. But it's so close, and it's unfortunate. And that's why we give him a plus pocket movement to mitigate the inaccuracy, because again, if he wasn't hit, I believe that throw would have been very catchable, but he was hit. And being hit is going to happen in the game of football. No matter, on fourth down, JJ comes up huge. This is a little bit tricky because on vertical routes like a fade or a streak, and this is a slot fade, if they're even, they're leaving. What does that mean? If they're neck and neck, throw deep. Well, I don't know about you guys, but it looks like if there is a race to the finish line and the finish line happens to be the end zone, Jalen Naylor is slightly ahead. And as time progresses, that lead will grow exponentially. So put that ball down the field. Instead, JJ treats it like they're not even, like he's not leaving. And he throws a possession ball on the back shoulder. Now, that's not what you want to do when there's already a defender behind, but Naylor does a really good job of adjusting and catching it back shoulder. Now, in retrospect, because of the arc that JJ put on the ball, or the lack thereof, right? This is a flatliner. This is a gun. He did not loft this. He bullet passed it. He held that button down if you guys play Madden. If he would have put it over the top, it's probably a bigger play, but it's harder to hit. By putting it on the back shoulder, he mitigates that accuracy loss of throwing the ball higher and longer and just asks his receiver to make a play. And Jalen Naylor has been really good this year. He's a speed receiver, but that's not a speed receiver's catch. Check this out. The body control, the toughness, the concentration through the ground. It's a great throw. It's an accurate deep ball. But more importantly, great job, Jalen Naylor. He's going to get some money somewhere this year. This offseason, that is. Here's a routine throw to Justin Jefferson. Again, every first down when they get near the red zone, they're just saying, like, you think we could get Justin Jefferson a touchdown? Next play up. What the hell happened here? So this play was broken from the start. It's a max protect, and then you just have Jefferson trying to run some kind of a funky over that never works at all because he's double covered, so he just starts breakdancing. And then Hawkinson running like a post fade. Neither of them work at all, and JJ is just forced to get rid of the ball. That should do it. I mean, that's a really good throw. Justin Jefferson has had a lot of drops since J.J. McCarthy came in, and that has nothing to do with J.J. McCarthy and everything to do with Justin Jefferson. Frankly, we should have a conversation sometime about maybe Justin Jefferson's not a top 5 receiver anymore. Maybe he's not top 10 because it's been not so great lately. But we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about J.J. McCarthy is playing really, really well, and that's a solid throw. Right on the hands, corner route. And again, once again, they're trying to give Justin Jefferson touchdowns. Because if J.J. McCarthy was just looking for the easy pass, one hopes that he would see Jalen Naylor 10 yards in front of him with nobody in the discernible universe to cover him. Do those jumping jacks. It won't help. You're not Justin Jefferson, so they're not going to make a priority out of feeding you. Now that's some great pocket movement, and that's some good running. This is exactly what he should have done at the goal line earlier. I love this. Step up and through because you have an edge rusher coming at you. Honestly, it's ballsy to step up when you have a defensive tackle on the same side, but that's why you step through, right? You kind of just slice through those dudes like Fruit Ninja. And then once he's free, he realizes, I could throw it to my fullback, but he's a fullback. I'm JJ McCarthy. I'm going to run for the first myself. It's a positive run. It's a plus pocket movement. You could argue it's 2. Really nice stuff. This play is tough as well because, like, if he would have had the time to just set his feet, bang. This is Matt Eberflus's defense, so we should not be surprised by the fact that he's playing base Tampa 2. But if J.J. McCarthy just slows his feet, he should realize he's got Justin Jefferson on a streak against Tampa 2. And the safety is late to get over the top. That's number 5 up there. That means, oh boy, do you have a honey hole? I mean, you got to hit that. You got to crack that. Stop your feet. Stop rolling out. Keep the diagonal angle, right? Because here's the thing. If you keep rolling out and you throw this way, you don't have a throwing lane. There's a corner in the way. Fuck all that. Stop where you are, and you still have an angle. If you could get from the middle of the fucking field, even better angle. It's all about creating throwing lanes, right? It's not about how close the defender is to the receiver. It's about whether the receiver and the quarterback have a defender between them. As long as there's no defender between, open throw. If there is a defender between, you have to throw upfield. In this case, you can't throw upfield because of that guy. So, J.J. McCarthy should have stopped his feet, hit the honey hole. That's an explosive. That's big time. And yet, we do not punish dudes for making decent plays because he continues to roll out. But because he continues to roll out, he creates a high-low read. The defender basically has to pick, do I go tackle J.J. McCarthy, who just burnt me with his feet last rep, or do I cover this tight end? He picks J.J. McCarthy because he got to go get the ball. See right here, 13 leaves 84. He starts to jog towards the quarterback, and as soon as he does, he gets burnt. High-low read, monkey in the middle. Everybody can play it. Solid throw, plus pocket movement because it created the solid throw. Could have been a huge play if he had a little bit more testicular fortitude. Now, I saw some former, maybe still current PFF analyst who doesn't really understand the game of football saying that this is actually a bad throw. J.J. McCarthy totally should have thrown a touchdown here. There is no touchdown to be had. See, if you understand the play, and you see the All-22, so maybe he just didn't see the All-22, but you should still know from the broadcast if you're paid to talk about this shit. It's just a little half circle. It's not a full corner. If it was a corner route, maybe I agree with you, but it's not. That's just not how the route was run. It's meant to be like an over that starts on the wrong side of the field. So, understanding what the route calls for, you can only throw the ball to where the receiver is going. You're not throwing the ball to JJ on the whip at the top. You're not throwing the ball on the flat. So this is the right decision. JJ makes a good decision, and he throws a good ball that leads his receiver up the field, right? Because again, look at the way that Hockenson is running. He wants to flatten it out and run across the 10-yard line. But JJ is saying, no, we can get a little bit more. And he leads him. If JJ McCarthy puts this ball any further towards the end zone, it probably gets picked off because the other thing is 14 right here. 14 is charging down at Hockenson, right? If you throw the ball up into the end zone, 14's not going to charge down at Hockenson. He's going to, you guessed it, turn, flip his hips, and run towards the end zone. So that's a fucking insane thing to say, and that's why we don't respect PFF analysts, especially Timo Riske or PFF Moo. He's an idiot. He's always been an idiot. He thinks Tom Brady's bad. Guy shouldn't fucking talk football, and some of you apparently still listen to him. That's dumb. Great throw. Routine throw for the touchdown to cap it off. Nice drive, J.J. McCarthy. Here's a routine throw. Little pocket movement because he steps up. That's nice. And now suddenly, J.J. is starting to look polished and consistent and reliable. And that's all because you make a couple nice throws, you get into a rhythm, and suddenly it's not just splashy big-time throws, it's consistent performance. And that's what we're seeing over the last few weeks with J.J. McCarthy. He's slowly going from being, a big throw here, a big throw there, and a bunch of mistakes, to a big throw here and a big throw there, but more consistent play down to down. And that's what's going to turn J.J. McCarthy into an extremely productive quarterback in this offense next year. On the day, I have McCarthy down for one elite throw, that awesome hip twisting touchdown throw to Addison, or was it Naylor? Doesn't matter. Elite throw. I have him down for 4 great throws, including that bomb to Addison that, if it had been 5 yards deeper, it would have been a touchdown, but also he maximized the catchability of the ball, so I'm not mad about it. It's just not perfect. He had 3 solid throws and 9 routine throws with only 6 misses. That's good for a 73.91% accuracy clip. Keep in mind that the average starter is accurate on 70% of aimed passes. That's pretty good. Also, keep in mind that the 2 throwaways, those are not aimed passes, so we don't grade them as such. If J.J. McCarthy can keep hitting big plays the way that he does and keep a 74% accuracy rate, the Vikings are going to win the entire NFC North next year, because it's already over this year. And this is, unfortunate. J.J. McCarthy has 8 starts. If we were in week 8 and he was 4-4, the Vikings are right in the mix. But when, his development gets delayed because he has a couple starts and then he gets rusty and then he has to relearn everything he just learned, it delays his development. So, he is 4-4 rather than being maybe 6-2. Additionally, you lost some really winnable games with Carson Wentz under center and obviously the Max Brosmer forfeiture. And as Phillip Rivers just showed, you can beat the Seahawks if you just have somewhat competent quarterback play. Max Brosmer, not that guy. On the day, I gave JJ McCarthy an A-. He manipulated the pocket well enough. He had 10 plus pocket movements. That's not terrible, and he was pretty well protected. He did a couple of nice things. He stepped up a few times like I showed you, and he slid through a couple times. He had a nice positive run. I gave him a neutral run for that one that was almost a touchdown, because if he had simply played it a little bit better, it would have been a touchdown. So even though it was a nice gain, and it's a good job using your legs, you fucked it. You left 3 yards and 7 points on the field by stutter stepping, then trying to truck a guy. Pick one, stick with it, or just pick neither and run to the fucking corner and get the easy touchdown. But I digress. 4 of 5 on deep balls, and that means that now, on the season, JJ McCarthy suddenly looks like a franchise quarterback. So you'll recall, he started the season on Monday Night Football against the Bears, and he eked out a win largely by playing balls out in the fourth quarter. Then he looked pretty rough against Atlanta, like C-, not good. Missing passes way too often, 57% accuracy. Then he gets hurt and he misses like 6 weeks. Again, that's rough. Comes back week 9 against Detroit and he played really well. I gave him a B+ for that game. He hit some really nice big throws. He was accurate on 76% of his passes. A fumble really hurt him. A couple of sacks he shouldn't have taken hurt him. But overall, he was good. Again, the major theme throughout the season is this motherfucker just hits big passes. Baltimore, not very good. Chicago and Green Bay, under average? Below average, there you go. And now, these last 2 weeks, really good. Washington, B+, didn't have to do a lot, but did absolutely everything that was asked of him. And Dallas, A-, best game yet. Now you can say, oh, well, Dallas's defense sucks, but it doesn't really matter if the defense sucks. If you're rolling to your left and throwing a strike 30 yards downfield for a touchdown, it doesn't really matter if the defense sucks. If you're throwing the ball 45 yards downfield onto a dime for a long gain that results in a short touchdown, it doesn't really matter if the defense sucks if you're making the plays. And JJ McCarthy was making the plays. That's why we watch the film, and that's why we grade the play as it occurs. Because yeah, maybe a particular defender is typically terrible, but if he has the game of his life, then you don't grade him as if he's a terrible defender. You grade him as the defender he was in that game. And in this game, Dallas's defense was fine. And frankly, a lot of that talk of Dallas's defense sucking is before they completely and totally revamped their front seven. So miss me with all that. They also added Siobhan Revell, who's a pretty decent corner. A rookie figuring it out, but a huge upgrade from Trevon Diggs, who's terrible and is still living off of a few interceptions that he had 4 years ago. It's not a good corner. Shouldn't start. So again, as I mentioned, JJ excels at making the big, impressive throw, the chunk play throw. And frankly, so did Sam Darnold in this offense last year. JJ McCarthy has an elite throw on 2.3% of his dropbacks. League average is 1.7. He has a great throw on 8.1% of his dropbacks. League average is 3.5. Now, the issue is that JJ McCarthy misses a pass on 22.6% of his throws, and the average is 21.9. So he's slightly below average in terms of how often he misses a pass, and he's slightly below average with his interceptable balls, having 2.7% of dropbacks. He's right around league average in terms of bad sacks taken, and the guy doesn't really make stupid runs. He runs effectively and opportunistically. Overall, I'm really impressed with JJ McCarthy's growth, but I'm also not surprised. I graded him as a low-end franchise quarterback when he came out of Michigan with upside to be way better than that. And it took a little while, for people to notice, but that's what he's playing like. Even when people were saying the sky is falling and making the 9 memes, JJ McCarthy was playing pretty average ball, the kind of ball that wins games for a lot of teams. He was fine, but it was ugly. Now, he's playing really well. And I bet that carries into next season, and I bet that next year the Vikings are going to be really good. So, for the next few weeks, while we still have precious Vikings football, hammer the Vikings, fade the Browns, make your money, thank me later. Until next time, I think I might be done grinding film because like 3 videos in 1 week is overkill, but I'll make the podcast and I'll probably do a space. So,